Hey there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Matthew Weeks, and today I'm going to be showing you how I use Roam Research to record controlled writing sessions. Now, you might be asking, what is a controlled writing session? And the idea here is that whenever I want to figure out how I'm going to approach something or solve a problem, it's easiest to do that if I do a brain dump first. And the problem with just doing this anywhere in Roam is that it can kind of get lost and the notes are disorganized, So whenever I want to start a new project, I will often start one of these writing sessions, which is a small self-contained session with a very specific topic. And it's kind of just got the setup for everything that I might need to do. And then I can go from there and add details as I want. So I'll give you a quick example of a previous one that I've done, which was actually for this video. And so you can see how I have, set up a Pomodoro timer and I just freeform wrote some content down here, added a few styling, edited a few things, but primarily I'm just writing out all of my ideas, and then I can go back over this and edit it if I need to. So this is just a quick sample of how I use this, but I figure that the best way for me to do this is to actually show you how I use it in action. So I'm working on this other article here, how I use Roam to organize my thoughts, and I thought that I would just do one of these sessions and record it, and I'll fast forward through it and then kind of explain what I'm doing as I use it. So I thought the best way to show you this is I'm gonna first show you the actual template in its totality and kind of walk through how things work. And then at the end, I'm going to record a quick session for myself, fast forward through that, and then add some commentary so that you can kind of see how it works. But I'm gonna front load this because I feel like that's the most useful thing for people. I'll also link to the code down below, so if you wanna copy this into your own Roam Research, you can just follow the link in the description and copy that code in and follow along. All right, so now I'm in my note and I'm going to start off by just typing in my template. Now the template is writing session. And so I just do 2 semicolons, writing session, and then I open up the template. Now, the template is pretty simple. It comes with a Pomodoro timer, a few tags that I can use to tag the content. Normally I'll fill this out after, once I've had some ideas out in the paper. Related content, so this is the project that it's related to. So in this case, if I was working on some other location, like a daily page, I could use this to link to the original article, and it'll show up down here in my link notes. Instead, I'm going to write it directly on the page, but it could work either way. And then of course, as usual, I have a parent title so that I can find previous instances of writing sessions, and it makes it easier for me to go back and look at it. I've also got a query here that I've populated with writing prompts and ideas for things that I might want to write about in the future. This is relatively new, and so it's pretty basic so far, but I figured that this is a great way for me to keep track of ideas for what I want to write and just have it accessible. If I'm running a writing session on its own, kind of unstructured without an initial goal, I will kind of use those prompts to kind of force myself to do this. One of my goals is to write 1,000 words a day, and I'm not quite there yet, but the idea here is that if I run one of these sessions every day, or a couple of these sessions every day, I will slowly build up that muscle, and it's mostly about getting things onto paper. Now, before I get into the demonstration of how it works, I think it's important for me to show you how to quickly set this up yourself if you want to do so. I have a templates page that I use here, and it contains all of my templates, and today I'm going to be looking at the writing session template. Now, as usual, you would have writing session and then hashtag Roam/templates to link to the templates page. This creates the template, which is then used to populate when I do semicolon, semicolon, and I can get to my writing session right here. Now, creating this is pretty standard. Pomodoro is just a /Pomodoro. It's built into Roam. And now we have attributes for each of these pieces of content, so it's easier to query by. And then for the writing prompts, I've just written a simple query here. I might get more sophisticated with this as I go. All right, so now I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to do my writing session, and then I'm going to open up my session. Now, every single session is going to be 25 minutes. This is mostly a convenience thing. I might also have a separate timer going on, or I might not use a timer at all. But this is kind of a convenient way for me to just time box things whenever it's available. Now I'm going to get started, and I'm just going to hit my Pomodoro timer. I've got 25 minutes, and I'm going to start planning out what I want to do. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do here is kind of write what's on my mind. Now, oftentimes I'll look for a prompt, so I will open up this prompts query, and I might decide I want to write about a recap of my 2020 or one of these other topics here. Instead, I'm going to go right in and I'm going to add what's on my mind. Now, I want to write about how I'm using Roam to organize my thoughts, but I want to focus this in a bit more and just think of one question. All right, so I've got my freeform writing section here with a word count, and I'm just going to start going here. Now, I've mentioned this before, but I think it bears repeating here. This is a freeform writing session. The goal isn't to come out with a final product, but to get my thoughts onto paper, or in this case, into Roam. The notes that I'm taking are very all over the place. I kind of just go as the flow takes me, and the point of having such a short session, well, it's not that short, but it's pretty short, is to get myself going and just keep going until I'm done. And doing this is really a practice of forcing myself to write more so than anything else, but at the end of the day, it does come out with some useful notes for me to hopefully build some content out of after the fact. So far, I don't really use Roam to write the final product. I've found that it's not that good for the end result, but it's really great for outlining things. As you can see, I can kind of play around with it. There's a bunch of different little tools that I use. Here I'm using some headings, and those headings are helping me to organize the content under larger topics. And this is just something I do kind of naturally. I like to write all of my content finally in Markdown. And so using something like this to actually write in what I would call a pretty Markdown-y type of system, it's similar to how I think. But bullet points also enable me to have more than that. So I use headings to create the common content, but I use the bullets to nest ideas and to kind of do threads. Interestingly, that's actually kind of how I like to write, but it's hard to do that in a paragraph format. So I'm still working on learning how to join thoughts together in a way that flows, that works with just regular Markdown. I like to keep these very simple. The ideas that I write down are pretty abstract or kind of just flowy. It's whatever I'm thinking of, and it's not meant to be perfect. And I think that that's kind of the key. And that's about it. All right, I'll probably stop this now. All right, now you'll see that I haven't really finished the whole thing, and that's okay. The whole point of this is not really to finish an article end to end. The real goal with this is to get my thoughts out so that I can feel good about it and kind of start organizing it from there. You'll also notice that I kind of jumped around a bit. This is something that I'll often do just because I think I have ADHD or whatever. And I tend to jump between different topics, and as I think of things, I like to bounce around. And that's one of the reasons that I really like Roam. It's great for kind of just outlining things and containing things. And of course, when I go in and edit this later, and when I add to this, I might reorganize. I might even scrap all of this, but ultimately the goal with any sort of writing, at least this form of writing, is to get the thoughts out and to be able to use it in the future. So if you're interested in using this template, then please feel free to follow the link in the description down below, and you can basically just copy the code that I've given you there, and it'll create a template, and you can put it anywhere in your Roam system, same way that I've shown you before. I like to keep it on a templates page. I like to keep things organized. Ironically, that's kind of the topic of this little article that I've started to write, but the goal ultimately is to keep everything as structured as you can, so that it just makes it easier for you to get things done. It takes me a few seconds to create this writing session template, and in doing so, it just saves me time and saves me thinking, and I can add to this, I can take away things, whatever I can do to make it simpler for me to kind of process stuff. Now, I still have not fully explored the power of Roam. There is a lot more here. I've used it a lot for creation, but I haven't really dug into it as much for the knowledge management side of things yet. And so I think that I'm going to start also creating some content around note-taking and how that sort of thing works. As you can see, that's kind of what I'm writing about here. And if you're interested in that, or more templates, more systems, anything to do with lifestyle engineering really is how I brand it, feel free to go down below and hit subscribe. And I will be posting more videos like this weekly. And I look forward to seeing you again. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a like. If you have any questions, please comment down below. I will respond to any questions and all questions that are asked. And I hope that you enjoy this and can make use of it, and wish you the best. All right, Matt out.